Terrence the Titmouse Takes a Tinkle by Calvin Sweers. Terrence the Titmouse, that frisky young bird, was drinking martinis, shaken, not stirred. His housewarming party was such a great hit. His forest friends toasted, "Huzzah! Cheers to Tit!" Blue Jay the DJ spun the next tune. Miss Cardinal was breaking with Leopold Loon. Buford the bunny, 3 sheets to the wind, shouted his lungs out, and everyone grinned. The dance floor was busting. The kitchen was, too. Chickadees were flocking outside of the loo. Gary the garter was twisting some grass, and Oswald's tuxedo was nothing but class. Terrence was brimming and bubbling with pride. A life in the forest. He'd finally arrived. Of all the great treetops in all of the wood, I'm proud to call this one my home in the hood. Cocktails and handshakes were bandied about. Bad jokes and gossip were spurred with more stout. In time, it grew late, and the party subsided. Some guests walked home, while others, they glided. With a yawn and a stretch and a cute little stumble, Tit fell asleep with nary a grumble. The hours went by, the stars they did twinkle, but soon Terrence woke. He had to go tinkle. At first he rolled over and tried to dismiss the need for relief, that want for a whis. But pressure was building, a sheen turned to sweat. Tit tried to ignore it, to sleep and forget. He curled up his body and likewise his toes. Nothing would force him to powder his nose. But his bladder had other ideas in mind, like fountains and floodgates and porcelain shrines. His belly ballooned and pushed at the seams. He tried not to think of dams bursting downstream. But try as he might to cork up the force, Tit had to go see a man 'bout a horse. "At this time of night, I can't see a thing. I'll just tie it off with this piece of string." But that didn't work. The pain was insane. He'd have to get up and drain the main vein. "This is absurd. It's dark and it's chilly. It's too late at night to shake dew off the lily." But try as he might to make it obey, his willy demanded for all to make way. He staggered and mumbled and hit his poor head. "Next time I'll bring empty bottles to bed." His knees took a buckle, his wings clutched his crotch. He regretted his penchant for soda and scotch. "Gah!" cried Terrence through his pursed little beak. "What's a bird gotta do to just take a leak?" The light from the door was getting more bright. Relief was so close, he just had to fight. He sucked in his stomach and made for the breach, lamenting that last round of sex on the beach. And just when he thought he'd got to the door, he tripped on his PJs and fell flat on the floor. A volcano of wee welled up from below. It took all his strength to stop the strong flow. He clamored and scrambled and cried like a pup. He longed to be empty. His tank was topped up. Finally he made it outside with a run. All he could think was to do number 1. With the courage of 10,000 men of the sea, Tit unfurled his PJs and tried to go pee. He stood there and wobbled like sparkling wine. His eyeballs were floating in bubbling brine. He crowed like a wolf and tried to go piddle. But nothing came out. "Now this is a riddle." Tit bounced up and down and did a bad jig. He stared at his birdhood, and yes, it was big. Just seconds before, he was ready to pop. What in the world could make this thing stop? Moments ago, he could barely contain it. The potatoes were boiled. He was ready to strain it. Come on, it's starting to hurt." Terrence was pleading to squirt the dry dirt. "Well, hello there, Terrence. How goes the pee?" A strange voice was coming from yon side the tree. "Who's there?" shouted Terrence, his junk all aflutter. His bowels were bobbing, his tongue in a stutter. "Just me," said Bartholomew Bat, upside down. "You look like you're planning to drown a small town." "For crying out loud, you scared the wits out of me. It's not a good time, Bart. I'm trying to go pee." "I've been there a million times," said the Bat. "I just thought I'd give some advice for all that." "I think I can handle this thing on my own." But really, Tit worried he was passing a stone. "Look," said Bart Bat, "you're a really nice guy. so I lay it down straight. Tit, you're pea-shy." With those parting words, Bart dropped out of sight, with a flap and a flutter in the pale moonlight. Terrence paused. He couldn't believe it. "Am I so uptight I can't even relieve it?" He opened his mind and tried to relax. He let go of hang-ups, perceptions, and facts. Resigning himself to not be so fickle, the hole in the dike, it started to trickle. Ever so gently he tickled his balls. The next sound he heard was Niagara Falls. He let out a sigh that was this side of heaven. Relief was the game, the dice lucky 7. His bladder was empty. He'd vanquished a river. His shoulders opined with a cool post-pea shiver. He fumbled and struggled to pull up the zip. "Hang in there, Terrence, just don't catch the tip." A tranquil sensation was all he could feel. Terrence the Titmouse had broken the seal. The end.